What happened in Orlando wasn't just a shock, it was a rupture in football's cultural axis. Because for decades, football power has spoken only one language: European. The Premier League, La Liga, the Champions League, the noise, the cameras, the narratives, all orbit around Europe. Even when African or Asian stars rose to global fame, they had to do it from within a European shirt. But this victory, it flipped that logic. It sent a clear, unavoidable message: greatness no longer has a fixed address. Al-Hilal, a club from a region too often reduced to oil money jokes and transfer gossip, played with identity, with structure, with emotion. They didn't park the bus, they didn't fluke a penalty. They played, and they won. This was a football match, yes, but it was also a symbolic battle, because it told millions of fans from outside Europe, you matter, your leagues matter. Your players, your clubs, your dreams, they belong on this stage too. In that sense, this was more than 3 points, more than a semi-final slot. This was a blow to the old world order, a cultural victory, a shift in narrative power. And the fact that it was done by players many thought were past it or never good enough for Europe makes it even sweeter. For the West, this was a moment of reckoning. For the rest of the world, a moment of awakening. Al-Hilal didn't just change football. They reminded us that the soul of the game can live anywhere. On June 30th, 2025 in Orlando, something unthinkable happened. Al-Hilal didn't just pull off a surprise win, they shattered one of the strongest football empires in the world. They defeated Manchester City 4-3 in extra time. But this wasn't just about a scoreboard. This was a global statement, a symbolic shift, a moment where football's geography began to change. Let's set the scene. The game was tied, 3-3, extra time. Nerves shredded, legs gone. And then, Leonardo, off the bench. The Brazilian striker, overlooked by Europe, picked up a rebound in the 112th minute and buried it. That ball hit the net, and the football world tilted. That goal wasn't just a winner. It was a revolution wrapped in leather. Because on that night, an Asian club didn't just beat a European giant. It dismantled the narrative. It tore through decades of dominance with one shot and one celebration. And standing silent on the sideline was Pep Guardiola, the tactical mastermind of modern football. His team had 70% possession, all the structure, but none of the soul. Meanwhile, Yassine Bounou, once cast aside by La Liga, put in a performance for the ages. He made save after save, turning away Erling Haaland, Phil Foden. Every time the City machine tried to break through, they met a wall draped in blue. Pep later said, "We weren't clinical. Maybe. Or maybe they just didn't expect a fight like this." Back in Riyadh, the streets erupted. Car horns, flags, fireworks. In Manchester, silence. Fans stunned. Headlines hesitant. It was as if the football world didn't quite know how to process what had just happened. But this wasn't a one-off miracle. Al-Hilal had been building to this moment for years. Let's rewind to Jorge Jesus. The Portuguese coach arrived before the Saudi football boom, before the media noticed, before the big names. He saw potential where others saw a paycheck, and he treated the job like a mission. He didn't just coach, he constructed discipline, identity, belief. That identity survived long after he left. It evolved, grew stronger, and when he once said, "We made history before the money," it sounded like a quote lost in time. Now, it reads like prophecy. Then came the era of global attention. Neymar joined Al-Hilal in a historic move. His stay was short, interrupted by injury, and he's no longer with the club. But his arrival was symbolic. It proved that Al-Hilal wasn't just a destination for paychecks, it was a stage. Even without playing in this tournament, Neymar's signing forced the world to take notice. It shifted perception. It said, "This league matters." But Al-Hilal didn't rely on names, they built a team. In the group stage, they went undefeated, beating Pachuca 2-0, holding Real Madrid and Salzburg to draws, and conceding just one goal in 3 matches. That wasn't a fluke. That was tactical consistency and mental clarity. Then came Manchester City, champions of Europe, favorites, a club that had become synonymous with dominance. And Al-Hilal didn't just survive, they took control when it mattered most. Simone Inzaghi, the manager, had warned, "We didn't come here to play in a World Cup, we came to win it." That quote was laughed off until it wasn't. Leonardo, barely on the radar before kickoff, became the symbol of the night, ignored by Europe, believed in by Al-Hilal. And now, etched into Club World Cup folklore. He didn't just score a goal, he delivered a message. And the message was, underestimate us at your own risk. This wasn't just a massive win for a Saudi club. This was the first time in history that an Asian club defeated a European champion in a FIFA-sanctioned tournament. Read that again. It had never happened before. Clubs from Japan, South Korea, Qatar, they had all tried. Some came close. Some held their ground, but no one finished the job. Al-Hilal did. They shattered that invisible ceiling, and in doing so, they opened a new chapter, not just for themselves, but for every club across Asia, for every fan who ever felt their league didn't matter, for every kid who dreamed of beating a European giant wearing the badge of a club their classmates never heard of. This was the night that changed the narrative. From now on, no matchup between Europe and Asia will feel the same. The wall has cracked. And maybe the most poetic part? It happened on neutral soil. A football nowhere, which made it perfect. Because this wasn't about geography anymore. It was about merit. Look at their squad. Koulibaly, Malcon, Milinkovic-Savic, Mitrovic. Players once seen as expendable in Europe, now leaders, match winners, icons. And it's not desperation, it's design. Steve Calzada, Al-Hilal's CEO, put it best. Top players now offer themselves to us. That's the new reality. And the world is struggling to keep up. Meanwhile, the media stays cautious, reluctant. Western press gave the game minimal coverage. In Brazil, silence. In Spain, barely a paragraph. Even after Sports Illustrated called it the game of the tournament. The truth is, the world of football doesn't know how to process this shift. Because Al-Hilal is not supposed to be here. Not according to old rules, but maybe that's the point. Al-Hilal was third in 2019, runners-up in 2022 after pushing Real Madrid, and now in 2025 they've eliminated the Champions League winners and booked a semi-final spot. That's not luck, that's evolution. Founded in 1957, crowned the best Asian club of the 20th century, 4-time AFC Champions League winners. Al-Hilal has always been great, just ignored. Now they're impossible to ignore. Because this wasn't just a result, it was a reckoning. This club represents more than football. It's pride, it's strategy, it's global influence. Al-Hilal is a new kind of super club, not built on hype, but on purpose. And as Europe clings to old glories, Al-Hilal builds new ones. So ask yourself, did Al-Hilal just change football forever? Because sometimes history doesn't whisper, it roars. And this time it was wearing blue. If this moment hit you, like the video, subscribe, and drop a comment. Did Al-Hilal just change football forever?